Making it happen DIY. Got another video today on the Toyota Matrix. The right CV axle is busted and it makes tons of noise every time you turn the wheel. So gonna go ahead and get that replaced today. Let's get started. Here's your CV axle inside the vehicle. It's attached to your wheel hub assembly. In order to remove it, you're gonna have to separate these bolts from your strut arm as well as the bolt from your tie rod. Gonna go ahead and start off removing this cotter pin. The castle nut uses a 19 millimeter. Easy does it. To remove the tie rod, there's a few different ways you can do it. I'm gonna see if I have a tie rod puller, which will just separate it, or you could also take the back end of this castle nut, twist it on, and then use something like a hammer in order to break it free. All right, so just slide the puller on real easy like so. Tighten it down on top of the screw and give it a twist. Booyaka shaka. Just like that, out of there. Thing you need to do is remove this giant 30 millimeter bolt. Well, apparently my battery powered impact drill doesn't have enough strength to remove this. So unfortunately, I got to go back to the place and grab my corded impact drill. All right, day 2 and we got power. That's right. Next, we're gonna remove the 2 bolts from the strut arm. It's gonna be a 22 millimeter. Just make sure to twist off the nuts on the backside. You just need to rock it back and forth on the wheel hub a little bit. It'll help to hold this up while you're rocking it out, just to take the pressure off the bolt. All right, now that the wheel hub's separated from the strut arm, this CV axle is just gonna pop right on out. It's gonna be able to slide down, and you can see right here, it comes out real easily. So we still have it connected to the ball joint down here on the control arm, and that's fine. I also put my floor jack underneath the control arm just to lift it up a little bit and take pressure off of the brake hose. Here comes the hard part, is getting back in here and getting this guy out. So these CV axles are a huge pain. It connects into the transmission right here, and there's these little grooves to push up against and hammer it, try to hit it out. You can try to get up behind it right up in here and wedge it out. You can try a number of different things. And a lot of times it doesn't want to budge. And so what I found is the easiest way to get one of these out of here is with some improvising. I unclick this deal right here and I can pull the boot off. You can just remove the entire axle, put this off to the side. So you can attach a pair of vice grips right here to the edge and pull it out. So what I'm gonna do first is just take a rag and clean up the edges and go ahead and take that ring off of here. You can make something real easy to pull it out. I have this long rod I bought at Lowe's with some washers and nuts on the end in order to catch the slide hammer that I'm going to put on here. And then at the end here, I unscrew the vice grips and I attach it to the rod. It has the same diameter. So this twists onto here, and now I have an extender bar with vice grips so that I can pull the CV axle off using the weight of this 5-pound slide hammer. Just gotta do what you gotta do. And this is how you use a self-made slide hammer. All right, so to make a little more space here, I just moved the wheel hub off to the left, and I took this piece of plastic and I unbolted it. All right, here goes nothing. And just make sure you have your knee out of the way. That could be a bad story. Whoa. And just like that, came out no problem first try. This works especially well on the driver's side. Make sure it has a good grip on there. It's as easy as that. It's even tighter over there, and it's super difficult to get a crowbar in. So with a pair of vice grips, you can just pull the whole thing right on off, no problem. So if you're having a hard time on your CV axle, put some vice grips on it and slide hammer it out. Here's a view of the transmission where the CV axle goes into. Just want to make sure that that's nice and cleaned up looking. There's also the axle seal right there. You might want to replace that rubber gasket if you feel like it's really old or it's leaking. All right, I was able to get the axle seal 710109. It's gonna be for your base and XR model. I've actually had an issue with leaking transmission fluid on the other axle on the driver's side. Go ahead and clean all this up first. Just kind of slowly push it in, make it even. Rub your finger around and make sure it feels nice and flush. And good riddance. So even though this one's not leaking, I'm gonna put some high temperature silicone around it just to ensure that this thing seals. All right, gonna go ahead and install this new CV axle. Put this side into the transmission, and you just wanna press it in until you hear it click. There's a little snap ring right here that's gonna get pushed in. Boom. And you can see there that it clicked in. You can check to verify by getting right under and just making sure you see that it's straight flush with the transmission. Now that that's back in and secure, it's time to bolt everything up and get this thing back together. All right, when you insert the CV axle into the wheel hub, just make sure these grooves are lined up with the hub. And we'll go ahead and secure that and put the tie rod back in to hold it in place. Twist the strut arm back into place. Go ahead and put the nuts back on the back side. This wheel axle nut's gonna be 159 foot-pound torque. These lower strut bolts are gonna be 166 foot-pound, and your outer tie rod bolt is gonna be 36 foot-pound torque. Just make sure to take this castle nut, line it up so that the cotter pin goes through, and then we're gonna bend this off to the side and make it nice and secure. Time to put the wheel back on and get this thing rolling. Just tighten the lug nuts to the wheel and remove the floor jack. And that's how you replace a Toyota CV axle.